I'm going to teach you how to achieve the power line with the driver. Now, all great drivers of the golf will achieve this in their backswing, and it helps them hit the ball far, it helps them hit the ball high, and it helps them hit the ball straight. And if you're struggling with the driver, even if I've never seen your golf swing, I'm pretty confident you will not be achieving this power line, but we're going to teach you how to do it today, and it is going to give you all of those things. Now, you might be thinking, Chris, what are you on about? What is the power line? Well, we're going to use some world-class golfers in a moment, but I'm going to hit a shot, and we're going to see if you can spot what we mean by the power line. Then obviously we'll go through it. Okay, might just hang on to the left-hand side of the fairway. It's going to hit the fairway, but it is going to bounce into the rough. But I would have achieved the power line. So what is it? How do you find it in your golf swing? The power line is at the top of your backswing. Are you able to put a line through the lead shoulder, the lead knee, and the lead foot? And that line should be tilted significantly back from the vertical. And you can see here some great players all at the top of their golf swings, all with that position. If you can achieve that, it tells us a couple of things. It tells us you've shifted pressure or weight, really important. It tells us you've got behind the golf ball, really important. And it means that you're ready to be able to deliver the club with a driver with a positive angle of attack. If you're struggling, you won't be achieving that power line. Now, there's 3 ways that you could be getting that wrong. We're going to go through all 3 and give you some really simple fixes for them. So the first way you could be getting this wrong or not tapping into what this gives you is if at the top of your swing, you can put a line through the shoulder, the knee, the foot, but that line is too close to vertical. This is quite common, really common. When you look at the players we have on the screen and myself as well, that line is significantly tilted back. So the reason it might be yours might be too vertical is really simply that you're not setting yourself enough behind the golf ball at setup. Very often we practice more with our irons than we do with our driver. And when we practice with our irons, we're very used to the middle of you, your sternum, being quite close to where the golf ball is. It's not always there, but get used to that. So sometimes we set up with the driver and we adopt a stance which is, a little bit narrower than it should be. And we start to position our body in such a way that the sternum is quite close to being in line with the golf ball. And the reason we do that is because we like that. We hit lots of shots from there. Pitches, chips, short irons, mid irons, long irons. We hit a lot of shots from here. So it's natural we try and sort of gravitate back towards that position. And when I'm in that position, I can make what feels to me like a really nice backswing. I can use those 3 reference points. I can put my straight line through them, but it's not tilted enough back from the target. It's not angled enough. And when that happens, it's very difficult to launch the ball. Possibly the best driver of the golf ball on the planet, pound for pound in terms of distance accuracy, Rory, hits the ball so high. He's got a positive angle of attack, and the reason he can do that is because his line, his power line, is tilting significantly back from the target. So how are you going to do that? Well, really simply, we're just going to get you positioned better relative to the golf ball. So we know that we want the ball just opposite the front heel. That's a great starting point. But look where my sternum is to the ball. Even if I leave my lead foot in the same place, as I make my stance wider, I move relative to the golf ball. So if I had a significantly wide stance like this, which I would never advise you do, but just because I've set my sternum further back behind the golf ball, my power line would be tilted more back away from the target. Within reason. We don't want to go too far. The more it's tilted back away from the target, the more power you can generate. So what I'd love you to do is make sure that with a driver, you're adopting a wider stance than you would do with your irons, and making sure that your sternum is pretty much middle of your heels. Notice I'm referencing that to my heels, not the golf ball. I do not want that in line with the golf ball. This is so common, so common. The stance is wide, the ball is forward, we feel like we're doing everything correctly, but this isn't great. So the first thing you're gonna do to make sure your power line isn't too vertical is to make sure you've got a little bit of a wider stance and your sternum is set behind the golf ball. Once I can do that, that should allow me to get more angle at the top. And that was a better drive. A little bit more into the fairway, actually pretty close to that. The second fault that you could be having here, and this again is common, is we might adopt a pretty good setup, but we get something like this where you can see the line isn't straight. It can go through my lead shoulder, it can go through my lead knee, but it can't go through my foot. And the reason that happens is because the lead shoulder isn't moving enough this way away from the target in the backswing. Often that happens when we snatch the club away with our hands. It can also happen when we start to collapse our lead knee too soon. You can see what that does. It starts to drop me towards the target. And if this is you, if you've got any of these movements, a couple of things. Number one, you're likely to be hitting down on the ball. We don't want that. You're likely to be hitting out to in. We don't want that. So out to in and down is basically slices, and it's basically lack of distance. So we've got to get this lead shoulder moving more to the center line of your body earlier in the backswing. So here's what you're going to do. You're going to take a towel, probably a clean one. That's not a clean one. And you're going to place it where it would be just behind your driver head. So what great drivers of the golf ball do is, if you mark where my sternum is, the center line of my body, what they will do is very early in their golf swing, their lead shoulder will move towards that center line. Poor drivers of the golf ball will often snatch the club away, their lead knee moves, they never ever get that shoulder back behind the golf ball enough. So what I want you to really feel is that the golf club is being moved away because of this shoulder, your left side, and you're actually pushing the golf club away. So the towel behind just gives me something that's just weighs a little bit. It's not heavy, obviously, but it's a little bit of resistance. And what I'm going to try and feel here from setup is I'm just going to put my hand onto my shoulder, and I'm just going to hover this to begin with, and I'm going to really feel as if my left side is pushing that golf club away. And notice what happens straight away when I do that is my lead shoulder moves much closer to the center line of my body, straight away. Before this club even reaches level with the ground, we've got to get some shift of pressure. We've got to get this lead shoulder moving a little bit behind the golf ball. The only way we can do that is if we start the golf swing correctly. If you're handsy, if you're snatchy, never going to happen. So when we put that little towel down, my goal would be to grab this shoulder and just make my first move away and try and push the towel away. Oh. Okay, and because there's a little bit of resistance, I feel that has to work from here. Okay, I'm just going to do that again. You can obviously do this at home. You don't have to use a towel. You can just grab something that's handy. But because there's a little bit of resistance, it makes me really work with that lead side. So we push and we go away. And just look how much that lead shoulder has moved from where it started. From here, that's a great position to then move up to the top and just look at the difference in that angle and that line at the top, because we got the first few feet correct. So what you can absolutely do is hit shots that way. Take a setup. This would be a drill. I can feel that. Lead shoulder moves across. Hand goes back on, turn, and go. Now I've not hit that as hard, but you can see it's still a nice drive, nice and straight. And it really helped me understand that first phase and how that is really important to getting that power line at the top. Remember, that power line is through those points, but also at the right angle. Now the final sort of error you might be making is when the head drifts too much. We see this when golfers are trying to hit up on the ball. You know, they appreciate that an upward hit gives more distance. They've maybe been told to get behind it. And what we can often see is a poor rotation. We see the head drift this way, and we can see how we can get shoulder and knee, but we can't really get the foot as well. So there's too much lateral sway. Generally, that means that the shoulders haven't tilted enough, and it's difficult to recover from there. The simplest drill you could ever want to do for this, get yourself set up. We've already spoken about width of stance. Club or alignment stick is going to go inside your trail heel. Driver is going to go across your shoulders. Now, I want you to visualize an area that is just back from the ball and just in front of the alignment stick. So where those two points cross, if you like. So I'm actually going to put a little golf ball there, so use as a reference. Okay, so that poor move would be here. Okay, golf club points nowhere near that golf ball. What we're trying to do is we're trying to wind up where I'm trying to get the golf club across my shoulders from my viewpoint to be on top of the alignment stick and the grip pointing at that golf ball from my viewpoint. It might not look the same from yourself. But what this is really doing is it's teaching me that my backswing isn't just a turn. It's a turn with a tilt. And that's really important because if we don't blend the two, it's really difficult to get a good top of the backswing position. So watch as I do this correctly. We get that beautiful power line where my golf club is on top of the alignment stick. The grip feels like it's pointing at the golf ball. I've shifted pressure, I've wound up, and I've got every chance now of delivering the golf club from the inside with a positive attack angle, which is really key. So once I've done a couple of drills, I can leave the alignment stick there, feel like I rehearse it, and then go ahead and hit it. Wow. Is that going to catch a bit? Is it going to catch a bit? It's not. It was long, but it was a bit right. But we look at the distance. That one was 280 yards through the air. So I hit it pretty well. And the reason I hit it pretty well is because I achieved that top of the backswing position.